learn the latest news surrounding Frenkie De Jong as we are getting closer now to agreeing a fee and personal terms. We have big updates on Wesley FOFANA and more news on Aubameyang as Tuchel has stated he is the #1 attacking player he wants to sign in this window. Ton of things to break down, discuss and get into. This will be a hectic end to this month. I hope you guys enjoy. You know what to do with the like button. Before we get into anything, I want to get one big plug out the way first. Right now there is a new episode of the Last Man Standing show on BetVictor's YouTube channel, and this week we're discussing Liverpool vs Fulham and we're talking about United plus many other things as well too. So now I'm going to play you guys a very brief clip from the latest episodes.
We got some serious work that needs to be done here, and the board haven't backed the manager at all. He's the right manager. He's finally the right manager, and that's the thing we got to give him time. Nah, it's not over. Look at the teams you're going to be competing with. Look, it's for the top 4. And look, United aren't competing for the top 4 if we don't get our business done, first of all. So this is assuming we get our business done.
And of course, right now, I'm understanding what Adam's saying about United and not backing the manager. But I think for me, sometimes as fans, it's hard for us to accept the reality. And I think the reality is United have been trying, but what can you do when the players you're going after and willing to spend big money on don't want to sign for you? Now, because I'm not a Man United fan, I feel like I can see the situation for what it is. And what can you do when you're agreeing terms with Frenkie De Jong plus other players and they don't want to sign for you? For me, it's a lot deeper than that. And United have to be humble now and start to build a long-term plan over a few seasons, because the fact that top players don't feel safe going to Man United, there's nothing that Ten Hag and many other people at the club can do. So let's see what happens with them. But for me, it's not looking too great if I was a Man United fan. So of course, you guys will find a full link to the episode in the card above, description below. And right now, let's get back into the main video. So right now, let's discuss the latest news on Frenkie De Jong. Exciting developments for both De Jong and FOFANA, as it seems like we are going to get clarification within the next 48 hours in terms of the future of both players. But of course, right now, let's discuss Frenkie De Jong first. And reality still is, he wants to remain at Barcelona. He would have to take a massive pay cut to stay there, but he's already taken a big cut as it is. He's deferred his payments. How many more cuts can he take? It's not making sense anymore. And for me, personally, I feel like he will have to accept he has to leave. But let's focus on the report that came out from the Times from reporter Tom Roddy, and he says that now we are getting closer to agreeing a term and wages with De Jong, and the wage packet we've offered the player has been accepted by De Jong. So I guess we need a bit more time to really decide his future. We know that right now, at this point in time as I'm recording this video, the agents of Aubameyang and Frenkie De Jong are currently talking to Barcelona, so we are going to get the clarification very, very soon. I think De Jong will have to accept that Barcelona will have to sell him, and he may be wondering why they're able to sell De Jong and then maybe make a move for Bernardo Silva. I'm not too sure. I don't have the details. I don't know how Barcelona's finances work, but I'd imagine that there's tons of accounting wizardry that's going to allow them to create that type of financial space to sign Bernardo Silva. So before I get into giving my thoughts and opinions, I thought this De Jong situation would be a good time to really understand what's happening with Barcelona and their finances at this point in time. So let me break it down for you guys. Today, I'm assuming that one of the big conversation points between De Jong's agent and Barcelona is going to be in regards to the deferred payments, because there needs to be a resolution behind what's going to happen with the situation, as De Jong is owed a lot of money. Some reports have stated that we are more than willing to, of course, pay the finances still owed to De Jong. I guess that's an amazing gesture, of course, to tell the player how committed we are towards him. And that's going to make him feel a lot more content and a lot safer. But let's break down these De Jong details. Currently, Barcelona feel like they have the legal rights now to rip up his present contract and revert back to the pre-existing one that he originally signed in 2019. As I said before in a previous video, they feel like there's now grounds based on criminality, that laws were broken when it came to De Jong signing that 2-year extension. Currently, Barcelona must reduce the wage bill, and that's due to La Liga clubs having a fixed salary cap. Now let me break down what this fixed salary cap actually means. Basically, this was a rule introduced in 2013, and essentially this was created to protect the long-term finances of clubs in La Liga. But what happened in 2020? Well, the pandemic hit, and this caused major disruption to the salary cap and reduced the overall wage cap throughout La Liga by $500 million. Now the salary cap is calculated based on the previous revenue by a La Liga club, current spending, as well as factors like costs plus debts involved as well too. Of course, the more money you generate, the bigger your salary cap is going to be, which is the key thing to allowing clubs to sign players to their teams. Now with the pandemic, with fans not attending stadiums, not investing in clubs, not buying products, etc, it killed revenue so hard for so many teams, and that's why some of the major clubs like Madrid, Real Betis and Barcelona have been hit very hard. This is why we're seeing Barcelona doing things like selling club assets, of course, to create more revenue, to allow them to, of course, boost their wage bill and increase their salary caps. So when you're getting off players like De Jong off your wage bill, he's earning like over 400,000 a week, only makes sense why they're trying to like force a scout in a way, or they've told him if you want to stay, you have to accept a major financial loss. And for Barcelona, their losses have been way greater than their ability to spend money basically, hence why they're going for so many players on free transfers, which have been very beneficial towards them. So that's basically the situation with the salary cap. We have made an offer for De Jong, a financial one too. They like what we've offered, so now we'll find out the final answers within the next 48 hours. And for me, I do feel like De Jong is going to have to accept that he will leave Barcelona and will probably sign for us. So here's where I'm going to give some more thoughts and opinions behind whether De Jong is actually needed. Now I've said prior that for me, De Jong and Kovacic are the same type of player, the same players stylistically, you know, the type of like deep line playmakers that receive from the centre backs, break the lines, carry the ball forwards, you know, carry their teams up the field, etc. And in my head, I'm thinking, how exactly do you have De Jong working alongside guys like Kovacic, for example, unless maybe you're looking to make some big sacrifices? But then it reminded me of the 2003-2004 season when Roman Abramovich first took over. We signed a player called Alexei Smirtin from Bordeaux, Russian international player. But as the window was drawing to an end, there was this amazing opportunity to sign Claude Makélélé when it was revealed that he wouldn't be staying at Real Madrid. And when certain players like this are available in the market, sometimes clubs have to take action. We did that, and I think history proved in the long run that this was the best possible decision to make. Smirtin was loaned out for the season, which benefited them, and we were able to sign one of the very best players in the world in his position. So I'm kind of getting the same vibe for Frenkie De Jong. I see this as a long-term signing. I'd imagine that maybe by the end of this window, January, and by the time next season starts, we're going to see more shifts in midfield, and maybe Tuchel is building in the long run. I mean, De Jong's available right now. You have to take that hit, I'd imagine. Maybe that's what the perspective currently behind the scenes, knowing that the team will continue to be rebuilt and reshaped, because let's not forget key details. The structures aren't complete at this club. We're still waiting for a director of football to come, and you'd imagine that we aren't going to sign all the key attacking players we want currently at this point in time too. So January and next summer are going to be very important for us to be able to really build this full team in Tuchel's image. I'm going to be very curious to see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Tuchel's thinking with De Jong here, maybe a 4-2-3-1 could be the way to go, because that was one of his best positions that he was playing in. So let's see how the story continues to develop. And right now, let's move on to the next one. And right now, let's discuss the latest news on Aubameyang. Now, currently it seems like Memphis Depay is set to be signing for Juventus, which does mean that the only player we could sign in attack from Barcelona would naturally be Aubameyang. Now, reports from Matt Law plus other big journalists are supporting the fact that Tuchel now sees Aubameyang as that number one guy he wants to bring into this squad for this season. As I said before, Aubameyang's agent is currently holding discussions with Barcelona at the time of me recording this video, and Romano reports that Tuchel is pushing Todd Boehly to bring his man here, as Tuchel sees Aubameyang as the perfect forward. So for me, once Aubameyang's reps finish talks with Barcelona, then we'll make that official move to try and sign him if we get an OK too from Aubameyang, which I'd imagine could be the case because Barcelona can't have to let these like big wage earners leave their club currently. Very interesting developments, but you know what? Currently I have a bit of a different perspective on this news in particular. Now, on one hand, I understand what some of you guys and girls may be feeling. Okay, listen, you know, I want to see better attacking players signing for us right now. Aubameyang's finished, you know? Like, why do we want to sign a player like this when guys like Ronaldo and co were available in this window and we turn them down? But here's my opinion, it's a little bit different. Number one, When he went to Barcelona in January, the guy scored 13 goals in 23 appearances, so he's clearly not finished and has a lot more life to give. Another important factor is that he has already worked with Thomas Tuchel, and I think this is where it falls down to my final factor. We have to be realistic. We're not going to sign Leao, Nkunku, or other big name attacking players like this. To bring in those type of moves, it needs time. The reality is, if you were to make mega offers for those guys, Milan's and Leipzig's and others would have to spend time finding the right replacements before allowing these guys to leave. That's how it works. Just because we have the money doesn't mean they'll accept our money if it doesn't benefit them and they can't bring in the right replacements. That's how it works. So for me, knowing the fact that so many attacking players are leaving, FOFANA, we could see Ziyech leave. We're hearing things about Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic as well too. It's obvious that Tuchel wants to completely restructure the attacking options he has, and that will take time, and that's going to take multiple windows. So knowing that time is against you, it does make a logical sense to make a move for a player in the short term you can get benefits from, that understands the manager's needs, knows the Premier League, and still has a lot more life in him as well too. But at the same time, I'm hoping that next summer I see interest in like João Felix, Nkunku, Leao, and many others. I know his time at Arsenal wasn't really working too well for the player, but the reality is simply this. Arteta wants a big pressing forward to lead his line, and Aubameyang is not that player. You can use players in different ways to get the very best out of them, and I think for me, Aubameyang will feel a lot more comfortable working under Thomas Tuchel compared to Arteta. So let's see what happens, but for me, I'm not going to be surprised to see Aubameyang sign during this window as well too. So leave your thoughts and opinions as to whether you'd be happy if we got the deal done for him. Right now, we end things with the final story, and let's discuss the latest news for Wesley FOFANA, one of the key guys that Tuchel wants signed during this window. Less are going to make things very, very difficult. And as I said in previous videos, the fact that we literally made a move for him right near the end of the window, it's going to make things harder because Leicester City needs to find a top class replacement. The fact that Cole went to Brighton probably didn't help us in terms of making it easier for us to get FOFANA. But let's break down the latest reports. I'm going to be getting this information from Ben Jacobs, Matt Law, Romano, plus many others when I break down the story for you guys. So basically, we don't want to pay a world record fee to sign him. We're hoping that we can find a deal under 80 million. Currently, Bowley wants to hold verbal talks to find those verbal agreements first before presenting that third offer. We've had our first offer and second offer rejected instantly. Let's hope that we can find workarounds. And Todd Bowley wants to really learn like the actual stance that Leicester City have, because I'd imagine that we could find unique ways, of course, to satisfy the financial needs and make something happen for this move. Now, we already know that FOFANA wants to sign for us, and reports have stated that, he's not that desperate to sign for us. But for me, you're gonna say that, aren't you? I mean, let's use our brains a little bit. He's already given us a hint that he is ready to move to us to fulfill his sporting ambition. That's why he's done subtle things like, all those name changes in his bio and his social medias. But it makes sense because he's not going to completely burn the bridges at Leicester City, because what if in the end we aren't able to find an agreement and then he's burnt bridges with everyone? That's going to be absolutely disastrous for a player that is still hoping to play in the World Cup this winter. So it makes sense, and now it's up to us now. FOFANA is giving us the green light to make something happen, and let's hope that Mr. Bowley, who I got confidence in, is able to find a solution to get FOFANA. Now, Tuchel mentioned that this season is still a transition season. As I said, this could be the best ever transition season, because for me, I think guys like FOFANA would probably have been signed maybe next season instead of now. I think with De Jong, we possibly would have made a move for him for next season instead of now, but when these opportunities are here, I guess you have to take advantage of that, and at least they have time to work with the team and work with Tuchel for a full year. What's going to be very important in terms of getting this deal potentially over the lines is Todd Bowley finding the right structures to be able to get this deal done. Ideally, we don't want to pay a world record fee to sign him, and some reports say before that, seeing all the marketing disaster of Maguire leaving Leicester to sign for Man United for a massive fee, and he hasn't necessarily been the guy to justify a ridiculous outlay spent on him originally, it only makes sense that the club will also be a bit aware of that and pay attention to not making the same possible mistakes. For me, in my opinion, I'd imagine things in the structure would be like, okay, if FOFANA makes it in the World Cup squads, that base fee plus, bonuses on top, the right structures over maybe like 2-3 years to pay less, potentially even more money, and the right bonuses that could dramatically, boost the value of the sale in the future. as time goes on in a very realistic manner. So let's say by the time we hopefully win a league before he's like 25 or something, we'll get like a massive bonus for that, you know what I mean? So let's hope that something finally gets done, because we do need a centre back. Currently, there aren't many options available in the market, with Malang Sarr now today joining AS Monaco for a loan fee of 600k plus an obligation to buy, which is massive because originally this was an option to buy. We're only allowing him to leave if we know that a replacement is coming in and we feel confident. So let's see what happens, but I do think that possibly we will be able to get this deal over the line and sign Wesley FOFANA. So you guys, on that note, I'm gonna wrap things up, keep things moving. Thank you for watching. Tons of content is coming out. Get ready for our massive match day this Sunday against Spurs. I've actually collabed with the We Are Tottenham Fan TV, and I've got a very special collab with the journalists planned for Friday as well too, so you guys stay tuned. So on that note, I'm Nini FC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.